it is the actions taken in this decade that will determine if we prevent a breach of the critical 1.5-degree guardrail when we begin to cross the point of no return and threaten the very existence of so many small island nations, our ecosystems, and our planet as well.
We really need to look at the injustice of the history of climate change, where we are today. Those of us who have contributed least are most impacted.
Climate change remains a real existential threat, especially from a young person. It almost doesn't matter in terms of which countries are low-lying. I mean, from a youth perspective, it's coming.
Unless we do serious debt relief, debt cancellation, it will be very difficult for many developing countries, not only island economies, to mobilize the kind of resources they need for the investments to deal with both the climate and the adaptation problems.
We've got to decarbonize, end the subsidies for fossil fuel, take all of those resources and put it into the green recovery, as was said, as well as into adaptation-based ecosystems, support and development, particularly around the Sustainable Development Goals.
We continue to raise ambition. And of course, as small islands where we have to, I don't think we necessarily have a choice here. But then at the same time, as we continue to raise ambition, the finance is not coming in to support.
For a country like Vanuatu, when you talk about climate justice, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about establishing obligations created by your actions. Because you did this, you therefore you're obligated to provide some recompense because people have been affected by your actions.
We have a clear disconnect between the mobilization of resources to invest productively and the challenges around the climate agenda that requires more productive investment in mitigation and adaptation.
I think it's important for the Commonwealth, if it is to have a collective approach, to do a lot more, I would say, negotiation within, to try and see if we can come up to some common positions that we can take forward into COP and other climate negotiations.
Citizens need to play a greater role in putting pressure nationally within the countries, but also as civil society once we get to the negotiations.
The Commonwealth needs to take its message from IOSIS and the SIDS, and that needs to be the Commonwealth message.
My one call to the Commonwealth is, I think it's already been said, sort of carrying the voice of SIDS and from IOSIS, but I'd also say the people of SIDS and IOSIS member states, making sure that their voices are really being carried by both the states, but also the Commonwealth. So let's not just think about it sort of government to government, but also the civil society organizations in these countries and the people. Thank you.